Hello, my name is Name, and if this is your first time seeing my face, welcome. If you've seen my face before, you've been here before, welcome back. I want to sit down today and chat, just a casual chat with you. I grabbed my matcha about 20 minutes ago. This is a huge cup, like as big as my head of matcha, by the way. My gosh. So I have my matcha. I'll be sipping on it. I want you to leave me in the background, watch me closely, whatever. But yeah, I just wanted to sit down and chat about Singapore. Why Singapore has been so has been a place that I always wanted to visit. Has been, yeah, just a place I've always wanted to visit, and kind of near and dear to my heart, as well as a little bit about my 21 hours that I spent in Singapore just yesterday, and whatever else comes up. So that's it. Thank you for being here. Let's get into it. Okay, so first of all, Singapore, I only spent 21 hours. I think that's the first thing I should address. I plan to go back already, and my approach to travel, my mindset around travel has always been one of abundance. I have this mindset that I can always go back. So if I spend however long I spend in a place, 21 hours I'm trying to see how long. I've spent 2 months in France on this sabbatical. By the way, I quit my job to take a year-long sabbatical, a year-long career break, just to live and be and not work and focus on other interests and learn a bunch of things and travel the world. And so that's what I'm up to. I lived in 2 months. Part of this sabbatical, I lived in France for 2 months in order to improve my French. I was gonna speak some French there. Oui, j'habite en France pendant 2 mois. Le mois septembre et octobre l'année dernière. C'était très bien. C'était très difficile, un peu difficile, mais je l'ai fait. Okay. What did I just say? I said yes, I did live in France for 2 months, September and October last year, and I said it was good, and then I said it was hard, a little difficult, or quite hard, but yeah, I did it. So whether I'm in a place for 21 hours or for 2 months, I always have had this mindset of abundance, of I can always come back. And so that's how I feel about, and examples of this is, for example, France. I've been to France maybe 6 times. It could be 7, but I'm gonna go with 6. Let's say 6 times. I've been to Mexico a couple of times. I've been to Switzerland 3 times. Italy twice. Like, I returned to play Portugal twice. I can always go back. I can always go back. And so it just happened to work with my flights. So I was trying to go from Malaysia, where I had been for nearly 2 weeks, to here where I am right now. I'm currently in the Philippines. I was trying to move, and somehow my flights worked in a way that I could have a 21-hour layover in Singapore, and it was gonna be perfect daytime layover. I was going to arrive in Singapore around noon and have to leave Singapore around 8:30 a.m. or so the next day. So I had the full day, noon to midnight, and then the early morning of the next day. It was a good time of day, I think, because you can have a layover that's like more at night, like if I arrived at midnight or at 10 p.m. and then it's like dark hours, and then I don't know, it was a good layover in my in my opinion. And so I was like, you know what, let me do this. And also in trying to plan my Southeast Asia trip, so I have been, we need to talk about the sabbatical, people. I have been in Southeast Asia for 3 months now, believe it or not. So on this sabbatical as well, I started in North America, in Canada, where I'm from. I spent 2.5 months there, and then I went to Mexico for about 2.5 weeks, and then I went to Peru for another 2.5 weeks, and then France/Europe for 2 months. I was based in France the whole time, but while I was there I also moved around and explored Germany and Switzerland some more, and Spain some more as well. It was my 3rd time in Spain as well. And then I moved to Southeast Asia, and this is currently my 7th country in Southeast Asia. How many countries are in Southeast Asia? I actually don't know that off the top of my head. Maybe 10, I don't know. But this is my 7th Southeast Asia country in the time I've been here, which has been 3 months now, which is, ooh, it is the last day of this, so it's exactly three months, because I got to Southeast Asia on the, I would say, the 1st of November. So all of November, all of December, all of January, 3 months. So wow. So this is my 7th country, and as I was planning my travels, I was kind of looking into Singapore, and what I definitely began to notice is the cost of living, the cost of hotels were sky high, as compared to other places in Southeast Asia, and really even as compared to anywhere in the world, let's be honest. Yeah, especially for, like, depending on your level of comfort and luxury. And speaking for myself, like, even the things that I was finding at the very lower end of the budgets were more like capsule, like pod or capsule hotel type stays, and even those were not cheap either. So I was kind of wondering how I was going to do Singapore. I still might go back again on this sabbatical or another time, but I was kind of like, should I go now? What do I do? And then this 21-hour layover came to be. But even before then, I was already thinking, hey, I could do a long layover in Singapore and explore what I want to see and just take in the energy there. And then this flight came up, and I was like, this is exactly what I thought about. This is exactly what I was hoping to do, and it worked out perfect. And that's one thing with me, honestly, it's a little scary. One sec. It's yummy. It's a lot though. It's a little scary for me, because once I feel like, or I find that once I envision something, once I see something in my mind, dream it up, visualize it, it is gonna happen. It's a little scary, because now I've got to, one, be careful what I'm thinking, what I'm seeing myself doing, but two, challenge myself to dream even bigger. Because I think of crazy stuff like this sabbatical that just came into my mind one day, and I thought about, hey, I would like to do somewhere in South America, and I did. I would like to do a couple to a few months in France. Oh, I think 2 months is fine, and I did. I would love to travel through Southeast Asia as much as I can, and I'm doing it. I would love a long layover in Singapore. Like, when I have a dream, a wish, a vision, the mind is powerful. It is the mind, but it's also, I think it's the will of God. I think it's definitely beyond me. It's definitely beyond me, because when I was in Singapore, for example, or even every day when I wake up in my life, I'm like, I'm really here. I'm really doing this. I saw myself doing this and now I'm actually doing it. I have those moments, like in a week, I probably have those moments where I think that thought like 3 times in a week, like because I have seen myself doing some of the things that I'm doing and then I actually do them. Once I challenge myself or I visualize something, I find myself actually doing it. And so I'm just saying that out loud. One, just like that's how I see things happen for me, but also encouraging you to visualize, to dream. I'm not a manifestations person. That's the thing. With all I've just said, you probably think, ooh, this sounds very manifestation-y. I'm not that kind of person. I just have wishes and dreams and I imagine my life and then I find myself living it. And there is something in there about faith and God, and it's way beyond me, and I'm so grateful. But that's how Singapore felt like for me. And why has Singapore been on my mind for so long? It's really a simple reason, but it is my dad. My dad, try to see where I'm going with this one. What year are we in? 2026. Okay, so my dad passed away 25 years ago now. And when I was, now I'm not sure the exact year he went to Singapore, but the Singapore pictures of him that I saw before, or maybe the first month of my sabbatical or before my sabbatical, I was looking at his Singapore pictures and I saw a banner in the background that said something about 1990. So I don't know if he was there in 1990, or which is the year I happen to have been born, or if he was there years later. I just remember growing up, being young, very, very young, and knowing that my dad went to Singapore. And I don't know if he went a couple times, I don't know. I just know that my dad went to Singapore either the year I was born or a few years later, and maybe he returned again for some kind of conferences or courses and was there for a period of time. And there are these pictures that he took in Singapore that I always had it in my heart to go to Singapore and take my own version of, like replicate, like stand where he stood and take my own pictures there, and just kind of like keeping the memory alive, kind of walking in his shoes in some way. Yeah, I'm talking decades ago, or at least a decade ago. More than a decade ago, maybe 15 years ago. Anyway, I've had it on my mind that one day I'm gonna go to Singapore and I'm gonna retake the pictures that Dad took in Singapore. And so that's why Singapore has always been in my mind, like, ooh, there is this country that I would love to go to, and it's beautiful, all the things I've heard about Singapore. The economy, the way it's kept clean, the business there, what it actually looks like, how it's well kept, the whole garden city concept. And so first of all, during the start of my sabbatical, I think before my sabbatical even started, earlier last year, earlier in 2025, I took those pictures that my dad took in Singapore, and I sat down to like actually find where these places are, because I'm like, hey, I'm gonna be on a sabbatical. It seems very, very likely that I will be in Singapore at some point. I gotta actually find the names of the places that I'm going to. And in doing that research, I came to realize that some of the pictures that he took were taken on somewhere that's called Sentosa Island. It's part of Singapore, but it's an island south of Singapore. It's kind of like a separate island is what I'm trying to say. And what I came to find in my research is that Sentosa Island is now has been rebuilt. When my dad was there at least 30 years ago, 3 decades ago, it was something different than it is today. Today it's more like a resort area. It's lots of like resort parks, theme parks, maybe casinos. It's being rebuilt. It's different. And even like a lot of Singapore, the most famous building, I think it's called MBS, Marine Bay Sands, the Crazy Rich Asians building that has 3 towers, and you know the building I'm talking about. I'm almost about to open it on my phone because I have so many pictures of it from yesterday, from 2 days ago. That building was not there until 2010 or so, which is just 15, let's say almost 16 years ago. And so Singapore, the Singapore that my dad visited is basically different from the Singapore that exists today, is the point that I'm trying to make. And it was a very, very like harsh realization for me, finding that out early last year, that oh my god, these places don't exist. There was these water fountains he took pictures by, all those are theme parks, like they don't exist. And yeah, that kind of was hard to be like, oh, I always had this dream, I always had this vision. But I still got to go to Singapore, and I just had this feeling throughout when I was there, this kind of walking in his shoes feeling. It was hard not to think about him almost the whole day, kind of wondering like, well, where would he have gone, what would he have done. And I took a picture by one of there is a Merlion Park, they call it. I took a picture. He has a picture. I didn't bring any of these pictures on my trip, but I remember in my head that he has a picture. There's a Merlion somewhere in the background of his picture, and so I took one with the Merlion in my background. But that's why Singapore has been so special in my heart. When I think of Singapore, for some reason I think of my dad. And I'm not the only one. My sister sent me a message and said something to that effect when I let them know that I was going to Singapore, or that I had arrived in Singapore, one of them. And so that is why it's been near and dear to my heart. But my day in Singapore was nearly perfect. I got to, there was a list of things, like typically when I'm going to a place, I'm interested. Sometimes I just show up and I'm like, okay, what's there to do? But sometimes I research and make some kind of a plan. And in Singapore, there's a few things I knew I didn't have enough time to do all of them. First of all, I have a video I posted about some things I still have this. Some things a Singaporean local or someone from Singapore recommended for me to do. So I had her list, but I also did my own research to find. And when I took a closer look at her list, there were a few things that I felt like, ooh, I could definitely sit out. I wasn't as interested in doing. So I also did my own research for places that I wanted to see as well. And so I didn't get to see all of it, but I just wanted to share some things that I did get to do and didn't get to do, and ideas for you for if you ever go to Singapore, if you're anything like me. But what did I get to do in Singapore? I got to eat quite a bit. I didn't know about these hawker centers, but thanks to this recommendations, again, I have a video on this, so I'll link it. I don't know what site it is, but I'll link it so you can kind of see. The title of the video is People Are Magic, because I just met someone and she threw magic at me, but I'll link it. So I didn't know about hawker centers in Singapore until I saw this. So I went to not one, but two hawker centers while I was there in that 21 hours. And it was awesome. Lots of locals eat there, foreigners eat there. Well, one was more like local. No, there were foreigners in both. But the second one, the Grab driver, the Grab is the equivalent of Uber in Southeast Asia. Grab. They also have some other ones that are more depending on the country you're in. Gojek, like in Bali, and in, I think that Gojek was somewhere else. But some countries have Grab and Gojek, but Grab is kind of central all along Southeast Asia. It's the Uber of Southeast Asia. Okay, so what was, oh yeah, my Grab driver from the airport into the city was telling me or told me about another, he knew where I was going because he was taking me to the first hawker center. I was hungry from the airport, and he was like, oh, there's another one, it's called Lo Pasat, something like that. And he actually pointed it out as we were driving. He said this one is a little more touristy, not as cheap as the other one, but it's a good spot. He was right. So I went there for dinner, and it was bustling with life. So I went to the two hawker centers. It's basically like calling it a food court is like doing it injustice, because it's not. It's, well, like stalls of different like restaurants, small restaurants, and then there is a sitting area, but it's not food court, it's not fast foody type of food, it's kitchen restaurant type food. When I think of a food court, I'm kind of thinking of fast food, or that's what the word is for me. Anyway, it was amazing food. I got drinks, I got great tasting food. One, I had some kind of noodle and fish. It wasn't even fish, it was like prawn or shrimp balls with noodles, soup. It was amazing. It has a specific Singaporean name, but I don't remember it. And then for dinner, I had some kind of rice and chicken. What am I talking about? Yeah, rice and like dried chili spicy chicken thingy, and a passion fruit juice. I love my passion fruit juice. That rice and chicken dish was bang on again. So those were what I did for my meals. But then through the day, I definitely, before I left the airport, I definitely got to see the rain vortex, the really big iconic Singaporean waterfall-y thing, rain vortex. I think they call it Jewel. Jewel in my mind is the name of the mall that it's in, but if you just say Jewel, people know what you're talking about anyway. So I definitely went to go see that. Beautiful to see, lots of tourists went to see, taking pictures, all of that. I also wanted to see, there is a butterfly garden in the airport in another terminal. I was interested in, I mean, why not? I was interested in seeing that, but I didn't, last minute I kind of changed my mind. I wanted to go into town. I was also interested in they have this free tours that they offer at the airport. The only qualification is basically you need to have a layover that's up to 5 hours. 5 hours minimum. Yeah, up to. So minimum of 5 hours. I don't remember that there's any other strict, maybe you have to be able to get a transit visa. I mean, that would go without saying. But I really wanted to join one of their tours. They didn't have the tour of the places I wanted to see, but they had a heritage tour that was kind of close to the time I was there. And then when I looked at it again, I probably had like an hour or 45 minutes to it. I thought, okay, I could do it. When I read the fine print, it says you have to have 90 minutes. You have to sign up at the desk 90 minutes before. So I was like, okay, there's that. There's also some specific art in the airport. I think it's in the first or fourth terminal. I didn't get to see those either. So there was lots. Basically, the Singapore airport is basically like it's a world of its own. If you have a shorter layover, you can enjoy it. Even if you have a long layover but you're not feeling like going into the city. Whoa, what was that? Even if you have a long layover but you're not feeling like going into the city, you can stay at the airport and just enjoy, because there's a lot to do there. Anyway, and then I went into the city and went to see the Garden by the Bay, of course, went to see the Marine Bay Sands, went to the promenade. They have a promenade right in front of the Marine Bay areas. They have this big mall as well. So on that promenade, they have this beach lounge chairs that I remember just laying on, and I almost cried just staying there. I was just like looking at the skyline. It's kind of like a huge circle of different things going on. Singapore is, there is an Apple store that's like in an egg, in an oval, that would be the word, in a see-through oval, like in the middle of the water. There is a Louis Vuitton store in the water. There is the Art Science Museum that looks like a lotus flower, and there's an actual lotus pond. There is obviously the Marine Bay Sounds. Whenever I see that Marine Bay Sands building, I think of Crazy Rich Asians. Like, my mind just links those two things together. It's just beautiful. So I just lay there. This is maybe like 3:30 p.m. and I was just so thankful. I was just filled with gratitude. I almost cried. And then it started to drizzle. So I went into the mall for a bit, and it drizzled for maybe 5 minutes. And I kind of walked around that bay. It wasn't a short walk, and it like happened different parts of the day because there's different things I wanted to see. But the view changed, the lighting changed, because day was turning into night slowly. It was magnificent. And then I'm trying to see if there's definitely things I'm missing, because I feel like I saw everything across that pond. Obviously the Merlion Park, which is where I wanted to go. They had this light show at, I remember they had it at 8 p.m. and 9 p.m. where they lit up the whole, like the water, the whole mall area, and the Marine Bay Sands building, and the art museum Lotus. They had projections, light. It was a light show, and lots of music and lights, and everyone stopped to watch. It was magnificent. It was very, very just intriguing to watch it, to be there. And something I noticed about Singapore is it's very, very, there's something very intentional about everything. Like, it is, everything is thought out, everything is on purpose. This is put here, everything in its place, and a place for everything. Like, there's something about it that's just prim and proper. They care about plants, they care about vegetation. It's a lot of maintenance, I can only imagine, but it's a garden city indeed. Like, what is that sound? Like, it's crazy focused. It's beautifully decorated with lots of colorful plants all the way from the airport to the city. It's beautiful. And it's crazy to think that lots of the plants, lots of the things that they actually put together are man-made. Like, they actually source things to, like, but they are very, very intentional about having nature and having it maintained. Everything in its place, people. Like, it's crazy. Then I went back for dinner after dark, and then after dinner I went to this club. I went to this 38th floor club, and people, this was a Thursday night. Yeah, I think it was a Thursday night. And so yeah, packed, music loud going. And honestly, at that time, this was maybe around almost midnight, let's say 11:30, almost midnight. And around that time I was kind of getting like tired of the whole day walking around and seeing, and the music was loud. I honestly only stayed at the club for about 15 minutes and then I was like so I could have hung for a little bit, but it was club music. 38th floor, so swanky, but it was kind of like tight. It was a small space, good music. So I'm like, oh, they do get down in Singapore.